Investing in professional certifications and advanced training can enhance your career potential, leading to higher earning power and greater job security. Certifications not only boost confidence in job performance, but also make you more competitive in the job market, which can open doors to promotions and higher paying positions. The financial benefits of certifications are clear. Those with certifications like Project Management Professional often earn more than their uncertified peers. While the cost of obtaining these credentials can be high, the long-term return on investment typically outweighs the initial expense, especially with the potential for employer financial support. Identifying relevant certifications within your industry is key. For example, IT professionals might pursue CompTIA A+, or AWS Certified Solutions Architect, while those in finance could benefit from a Certified Investment Management Analyst designation. By strategically choosing certifications that align with your career goals, you can position yourself for long-term success and professional growth.
Claire, for women aiming to close the pay gap, are there certifications or advanced training that you recommend to help them boost their market value?
I mean, it's so specific to what you do for a living and where you want to go. I think the best thing you can do is to just gather as much information as possible from the people who have roles that you might be interested in one day becoming. So whether that's your boss or going laterally within your company, or, just researching what did it take for them to get there. But this is the question to really ask. In their job, what is most difficult about it? What has been their biggest learning curves? Compare that to what you do now, and that's the gap. Sometimes it's skills, sometimes it's strengths, right? As we say, soft skills. It's not always a certification. It might be more about, more experience in a certain area, more exposure to a certain network. So really, really gather information before you take any kind of action, especially if you have to pay for it.
Great advice. Was someone going to chime in? I wasn't sure. Okay. Bobby, how do you guide professionals in identifying certifications that align with their long-term career goals?
Well, I think it's important to know, from a deep dive perspective, what our strengths are and what are our, challenge areas. So every time I talk with somebody or work with clients, we find out, here are the strengths of their brand, here are the strengths of their current situation, here are the assets they have. Some people are naturally good speakers, and some people are naturally good analyzers, some people are naturally good at other things. And so we look at those strengths, but then we look at what are areas that we can focus on that might be helpful to you. And I'll even share my own personal example, which is, having been an entrepreneur for 20 years, a gap that I identified for myself from a training perspective was, and this is through a coach who I'd known for a couple of years, is one thing I always wasn't comfortable with was sales. Doing sales calls and doing the follow-ups and, booking clients. And so I took his advanced training, and it definitely helped me tremendously to, get better at that. And all of us have those things. We have our assets and our skills that we're really good at. And we have certain things we can outsource. And there's other things that we want to work on. And so whatever we identify we want to work on, you look for people out there that can help you with that in the best way. And the other thing to keep in mind too is what is the best way that's going to what learning do they want? Because people have different needs in terms of, some people like to, watch videos. Some people like to have the hands-on training. So it's also important to kind of know your personality and how you operate as a learner.
Can I just bust a myth there? That's really important. It's not so much how you learn that's important. It's what you're learning. You hear this myth quite often that people are visual learners or auditory learners or they're hands-on learners. You cannot learn to ride a bike by watching a video. You can't learn to be a successful entrepreneur by watching a video. You have to do the doing. So often we kind of get a little bit distracted by this myth that, we are a particular type of learner. Think about what you're trying to learn. If you're trying to learn music, you need to do that through auditory means, and you need to, play or listen to music. I just wanted to bust that myth that we're not a specific type of learner. We find the best strategies for what it is we're learning. And humans are good at that naturally.
Yeah. How do you bridge that gap? I think sometimes it's easier said than done.
Really think about, what am I trying to learn? What would be the best way to learn this thing? So if it's riding a bike, it's actually riding a bike. If it's learning to code, it's actually actually coding, yes, you need all the support and maybe you need some information as well. But what is it you're trying to learn? If you're trying to paint or you're trying to, learn how to do art, yes, you want to look at art, but you also need to actually physically, get the paintbrush out or get the tools out that you need to do. So it's about seeing learning as I think Claire talked about it earlier, as a process. And part of that process is taking in information. So multi-sensory information really helps your brain to remember it. But don't think I'm a visual learner and therefore I'll just watch videos, or don't think I'm a kinesthetic learner and I'll just do the doing. You still need to, you need to practice what's relevant. You need to use the strategy that's right for the thing you're learning.
And actually, can I just interject for one quick second? The step that I see a lot of people miss before is you actually want to carve out time to do the learning, and do the doing. Because I oftentimes coach women who they have all these plans and they're going to take this class and then they just don't follow through. And we actually spend a lot of our sessions talking about time energy management first, carving out that space for the process before you even, take the class or do the doing.
And the time to reflect on it. What did I actually learn? What's important for me? And how am I going to take that to the next level?
Yeah, and I want to share a quick story about Joe Walsh from the Eagles, because I heard him tell a story about growing up. He would always go out and play in front of people, even when he only could play like 1, 2, 3 songs. That was the habit that he started. And his comment was, oh, there are all these young kids who just play in their bedroom or they play in their garage, but they never play in front of people. So he said the result is they're a legend in their own mind, but they cannot get in front of people and play. So he found that when he went out there, played in front of people, he's like, you're lousy. You're always lousy. But slowly over time, you're raising your level of lousy to the point where you can actually perform in front of people and then start selling tickets, and then you're playing in a stadium. He's like, you're still lousy, but you're getting paid to be lousy.
and you're learning there in the context of where you actually want to be at the end. So you're not learning if you only want to be a digital star, then play in your bedroom. But if you want to be out there, in a huge arena, he's absolutely right. Go out there and get the context right, because that's hugely important for learning.
William, how do you view the role of certifications in personal branding? Is that a good way for somebody to stand out? And then how can they add that to their LinkedIn profile?
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm going to be a contrarian when it comes to certifications. And sometimes, so I think what we need to think about is, what do we want to do and what role do we want to have? And if all of the advertisements for that role says that you need to be a certified financial professional or a PMP or an associate coach, then we need to do that. I think there's a difference, though, between doing that for the credential that opens the door, which is a lot of what, if we didn't have our bachelor's degrees, we wouldn't have gone into the companies that we're in, regardless of whether we had the skills or not to do it. Sometimes there are doorkeepers, and that's that. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I'm the worst engineer on the planet. I hated electrical engineering. I took it because I thought you need to go to school for something that's hard, right? But it got me into a job, right? And then immediately I stopped doing electrical engineering, which was probably good for me and for the company, because I wasn't a good engineer. So I think that we need to understand the distinction between pursuing a certification because we think that what we're going to learn in that certification is going to be helpful to us around skills, or we just have to have that certification because a door is going to be closed to us if we don't have it. And so a certification is more of a credential. Skills are actually really different. There's a great book. It's called I think it's called The Expertise Economy by Kelly Palmer. She used to be the CLO of Degreed, and it is about the fact that we're moving to a skills-based economy. And there are so many. I think there are 12 major corporations who just took a lot of their jobs and eliminated the need for a bachelor's degree, and instead listed the skills that you need to be able to prove that you have. So I think we're going to move from these kind of certifications and degrees to more verified skills that I absolutely have the skill to be able to do X.
I agree with William. I mean, certifications aren't always necessary. I mean, everything's an asset, right? So if it helps you, great. But if you get a certification, how can you leverage it? There are certain ones we sometimes need that are costs of entries to things, but you don't always need them. The ability to demonstrate your skills, to share ideas, to build relationships, to have a build thought leadership, which is what I like to talk about, because you can build thought leadership without certification. You can build thought leadership in ways where people see what you're doing is really powerful, and I want to work with you even though you don't have that certification. However, it can be an asset that can be leveraged, but I don't think necessarily you always have to get it.
I cannot agree more with both of you. I think it's so important that we certification is useful if it helps you open the door. But what you're really trying to do, and we talk about, we're moving from a knowledge economy to an actual skills economy. And what you want is your skills validated, not certified, but validated. Can somebody see you do this thing? Have they observed you actually putting this thing into practice in the relevant context in the workplace? And one of the pieces of our technology is that actually enables that conversation between employee and manager supervisor. I'm doing this task, can you validate it for me, please? And we actually promote that, so you're actively having those conversations that we know are important for people at work, that other people can see them do what they need to be able to do, not that they've got a piece of paper that says that they've been in and they've learned something about it. It's the doing.
Love it. Love the contrarian perspectives. We're going to move to segment 4.